What's up? This is your girl, Kinda Bell, and I am sharing with you the 3 point handoff that we are all experiencing right now. You can see it, you can feel it, and you are experiencing it. And so rather than you get all caught up in the fear and the videos, I'm going to give you some pointers. And if you want to know how this affects your rising sign and or your sun sign, make sure that you watch my next video. But more importantly, if you want to know how these changing times could possibly impact your chart, give me a call, because it's not about anything other than what you choose. This is a time for us with everything entering into Aries. It is initiation of self. Yes, we need to look at the way that our world is moving and how our world is shaped and how we are going to work together as a community. But before we do that, we need to be honest as to who we are bringing to the community, i.e., ourselves, because all of us have been operating on a false story of the environments or the world that we have been birthed into. And so any type of character or ideologies that we have, whether they are good, they are valid, they are grounded in whatever we perceived as truth, they don't need to be tossed away, but they need to be honestly and soberly examined because we have been operating, i.e., attempting to survive on a system that was not clearly explained to us, if you will. But anyway, I'm not going to get into my political talk. This is about astrology. You have to watch my subsequent other videos. And again, my name is Kinda Bell, and I am a cultural sociologist, and I am a cultural astrologist. I love using culture, astrology, and trends, not as motivation, but timing to map out strategies. So let's go. Let's talk about February. So February in the Sacred Joy Garden is the theme is beauty, and not beauty as aesthetics, but beauty as aesthetics and infrastructure, transformation, meaning that beauty is not contained, defined, or explained. It just is. And I'm going to show you how this month of February has been shaping us to realize and create our own quote unquote beauty standard. And when I talk about beauty, it's not just the physical, it's not just for like appreciation. It's also for transformation and for building. And this month we went through we're going through basically three energetic gateways: Leo, Aries, and Pisces. And this is fire, fire, and water. So we began the month with Leo energy. Then right now we're going through this Aries portal, this Aries corridor, rather. And then we're going to close out the month in the waters of Pisces. So let's start from the top. So we began the month on the 1st with a full moon in Leo, and then it transitioned on the 3rd day of February with Uranus going direct. A full moon in Leo, when we talk about moons, that's about the internal. So with a full moon, it's like the internal wanting to come forth in the external. And with the full moon against um against the Aquarius sun, the collective or you individually are being asked, number one, what is your identity in terms of being seen versus being scanned? Like, we are no longer worrying about performance. Like, we're going to show up in our best, but our best what feels good to us. Because when we look at this full moon in Leo against the Aquarius sun, Aquarius is air, but it's more of electrical air, the collective, the balancing of knowledge for the betterment, for people to grow and to expand. So basically we began this month figuring out how are we going to show up for ourselves that is authentic so that we can be a true force for the community. And on the third, when Uranus went direct in Taurus, we also dealt with values. Taurus is about value and worth, the luxury of things, the value of of being. So with Uranus going direct, and Uranus is ruled by Aquarius, you know, disruption. We finally, whatever stagnation that you may have felt around value and where this placement may hit your chart, you probably saw a like, oh, I get it now, or oh my gosh, you know what? I've been selling myself too short, or I've been requesting more than I need for my value. And let me explain this. You know, some of us may, previous to this full moon, felt that we needed these extra things to pad our emotions, our feelings. But the first week of February kind of gave us this, like, you know what, do I really need that? No, I don't think I do. And a matter of fact, I don't think I have to give that anymore. And so the first week, this first week was about not editing ourselves to be digestible. And it's not about being mean or um like I'm standing up for myself. It's more of embodying yourself. That's the energy. It's no more verses, it's no more hierarchies. It's like this is who I am with love and reflection. Okay? So then, boom, 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 we move to the next biggie thing, which Venus entered Pisces. And this was on, I believe, this past Tuesday, something like that, Monday or Tuesday. Yes, this Tuesday. And so this is where we may start feeling very heavy about relationships. And this could be any relationship. It doesn't have to be love and romantic. And again, if I'm able to look at your actual chart, then I could tell you how this love of self and the high art of softening is not only affecting you, but it is going to benefit you. You know, Venus is exalted here. So, I mean, yeah, basically you're going to feel more value about what love means to you and not feel like you got to make deals. This is more about connection. Like we're not going to work at it. This is not about making a list of what you're going to do and what I'm going to do to make this work. It's more about looking at the list and feeling it out and flowing through what you need, not the restriction or the analytical execution that we may have felt when Venus was in Aquarius. And again, if you want to know about this for your personal, hit me up, hit your girl up. So as we move, so Tuesday, was that Tuesday? February the 12th, Thursday rather, Destiny DM. So this Mercury is in Pisces and it's conjunct the North Node. Well, it was. And Mercury, of course, as most of us know, is the planet of what? Communication. And so when it's conjunct with anything, any planets that are conjunct, it's like they're sitting down together and they're having a conversation. And basically, you know, Thursday, February the 12th, if you are seeing it past that time, it's still not too late. Make sure that you have paid attention to conversations. You might have gotten like a DM, an idea, someone sent you something that made you think about another angle about whatever you are interested in. And again, depending upon your chart, I can best tell you what that nuance could have been. And if you were my private client, then you probably have a monthly that is crafted directly for your chart where you'll know, okay, on this date I need to be looking for possible information in this area of life. For me, this hit my my house of speech. And anyone that knows me knows I am a stutterer. And one of the things that I've been really dealing with is my speech, how I sound, and the confidence to speak my truth, even though I'm not a shy person, but I'll talk about that in a subsequent interview. But the main thing was that on this day, a dear, dear friend of mine she literally DM'd me an audio clip where I was speaking to someone on Clubhouse. This was maybe 5 or 6 years ago about my stuttering. And one of the things that I said on the recording was, I stutter less when I allow myself to be myself. Okay. So I'm just sharing my personal ahas about how I do this system. And if you want to join the Sacred Joy Garden, I'm opening up the doors for March. So you'll know how to look at these things from a more culturally aware standpoint, number one, and secondarily, you can apply them to your life, and it's cultural. So it's not like pop astrology or based on anything other than lived experiences and Western astrology, because we're in the West for now. Okay. All right. So, boom, boom, boom. So now, since I got all the pre-game events out of the way of the different things that have led you to Friday the 13th, bum, bum, bum. Saturn entered Aries, and this is the initiation. And this is basically girl stand up. Now, if you've heard the song by Doechii, when she, I think she put it out at the end of December as we started heading into January, and it's called "Girl Get Up." And this energy is basically about authority in self, not authority over anyone. See, a lot of times people don't feel in charge or in authority unless this energy or this type of presence is put over or loaded over or controlling a person or some persons. This is not what Saturn entering Aries is about. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It is the concept of the self. I am. Okay? So whatever area that this is affecting is going to really, in the word, stiffen your spine, get your posture together in terms of you're not people pleasing anymore. This is about self authority first, not feeling the need to dominate or to show power or authority via anyone else. And of course, what we're observing or experiencing, depending upon you and where you see things in the news and what's happening in the United States, this posture is very important because it's basically gaslighting and the narcissistic tactics or tools that may have worked on us, whether out of us being naive or survival. A lot of people are understanding that they have co-opted or signed on to what is the term everyone's using, contracts, naively for survival. And it's showing that it doesn't really work. We are awake. Even if you're not, like the term woke, they killed that. It's not about being woke, awake, but acceptance, the realization. And this is not the day to make a big move or a big statement unless you feel it deeply in you, because this energy is going to be with us for a minute. And it's going to activate other aspects of who you are. And again, this is, I think, Saturn is going to be in Aries along with Neptune for quite a minute. So it would be a good investment to get a personal report. I do your chart. I do 90 days. And I would advise anyone to get a personalized chart for the next 90 days so you can strategize, not out of fear, but out of strategy and personal authority. Okay. All right. So the next point. So today, Friday, February the 13th, boom, it's like, okay, I am people pleasing. Where am I letting myself fall out or leave my body? What environments, what spaces am I leaving the body? And then when we come into February the 17th, which is next Tuesday, this is a solar eclipse in Aries. And this is basically the old story, the old timeline, it vanishes. Don't try to keep forcing an old storyline, an old structure, or anything that has created so much friction for the body. Okay. And depending upon where this hits you, you're going to see it. And when we talk about what's happening parallel with what we're observing, basically stop letting the old story get paid. Meaning we're not going to keep building up and feeding an old narrative that is not accurate. In terms of the collective, the appearance America has one story, but the infrastructure America is moving differently, and we're seeing it. And it's basically belonging that requires self erasure is recognized, and we're not going to do it. And this is basically the energy that has been put forth on the collective. And this has been experienced in micro doses in our personal lives and circles. And it's based upon a faulty system that we're seeing. Okay. So this is next Tuesday. So boom. The first one is Saturn entering Aries, where you're like, wow, where am I letting myself leak out? You're going to identify, you're going to see it. It's going to bring like attention to it. You're going to feel more like I got to get structured. And then when the snap, this is like the Thanos snap in all of my Marvel fans, the Thanos snap. Okay. It's like snap, boom, what it is. So you will definitely experience or see like, woo, this was not what I thought it was. And I knew it. But don't rush to the future so fast. Just stay in the present because things are still going to keep moving. We're not even done with this eclipse season. This is the first layer. Okay. So again, follow me so you can get the info and more importantly, get a personal report. Okay. Now, the third point, because these are three pivotal things that are happening right now for all of us on a collective in terms of governments, social type of structures. We see all that. And it's also aligning with us on a personal level. As above, so below, as without, so within. Okay. So on the 20th of February, so we got this eclipse, then boom, 3 days later, we have what is called a Saturn and Neptune conjunction. Now, this is where whatever this aha that happened in between the 13th and the 17th, you now can start, okay, so this is how this can possibly be. And this is about this is pretty much practical magic, meaning what I have a vision for. Can I do it? Of course you can. You can do anything you set your mind to. But it's not about the fantasy. It's like, what can I do right now? And not even the big picture of the big finished type of project. Start with where you can first. And on the 20th, you're going to see it. Okay. So, but I'm not almost there. So basically, let me pull this all together for you. So I laid out the first 2 weeks of the month that was building up to these three, what I like to call points back to self. The first one, which is Friday, February the 13th, where Saturn hits 0 into Aries. And this is, I'm done drifting. You're not wavering. I know. You just, I know. Again, I know, I am. Then the eclipse on the 17th, on that Tuesday, is going to ask you what I used to feed, I'm not going to feed anymore. Like whatever used to pull you, whatever type of habit, whatever type of argument, whatever type of energy, ciphering whether to give it or have it taken from you, you're gonna clock it and be like, no, that's not for me. And it's not even going to be a big kaboom. I mean, it can be if you choose to be, but it doesn't have to be. Okay. So you're gonna have a nah, that doesn't work on me anymore, or that doesn't move through me anymore the same way. And then when we get the conjunction on the 20th, now the dream remains whatever after this aha moment on Friday the 13th, the awareness and acceptance that happens on the 17th. By the 20th, then you're like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to build it slow. You're not going to feel the urge to rush and get it done as you may have felt, because again, the old system, the old type of programming that we were under was do it quick, do it fast. You know, because we're rebuilding our own systems collectively, and we are creating our own systems internally. And so it's not about running fast, the biggest, the best. It's about, as I'm building this, does this feel like me? Does this feel comfortable for me, and is this something that other people can join in? And you may not be ready to share it with others right now. Don't worry about that. Your ideal is creating your new space, not boundaries, but space of belonging within yourself, where you are more comfortable inviting people in, and people are more comfortable coming in because hopefully they're doing the same work as well. Okay, that's 1, 2, and 3. All right, now little extras. So we have a little lucky alignment on the 22nd where Venus is going to be trying, which is a good placement. They're hanging out. They're like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing, beautiful? You know, Venus is still in Pisces and Jupiter is in Cancer. So they're water buddies. They get along. They wave. Hey, girl, what's up? You looking good over there? Yes, girl. So the universe is basically, this is a lucky day, you know, where you might get perks. If you play the lottery, you might hit. Someone may give you something that you were not expecting, or you may ask for something and get it. And this is not about what you are owed. This is not about you earning it. This is like ease, the dignity of just getting something without having to beg, negotiate, or create a scheme or a scenario to get to be a benefactor of the universe. It's almost like you can feel the yes before you ask. So be in tune with certain things. And again, if you know, you get a reading, a chart report rather, I could have told you where this exactly hits for you, but it's open to everyone. But when you know where this hits in your actual chart and the house or the life area, the lived experiences that may create this opportunity, I can show this to you. All right. We're almost done. Boom. So now on the 26th of February, Mercury goes retrograde in Pisces. Now, of course, Venus is in Pisces. So we're feeling soft. We're feeling nostalgic. Venus is exalted there. But when you have Pisces also in Mercury, Mercury also in Pisces right next to Neptune, and it's going retrograde, is not so much that it's going backwards, but it's like it's sitting where it's sitting where everything else is moving forward. So you may recognize certain things, but it's not a failure. You haven't done nothing wrong. You're not a bad person. You're not stupid. Or all these different things that the system tells us when we quote unquote realize or we recognize certain things. This is the optimal time with Saturn and Neptune in Aries, the initiation of self in the house of I am, in the planet of fire, to give you the opportunity to not think so lowly of yourself, not look at your old story in like a negative. It's just data. It's data. It's data for you to use to upgrade your system. Whenever we use any type of technology or anything like that, at a certain point, the software doesn't work anymore. Our needs grow because we have learned how to operate or use a certain software. So the software gets an update and upgrade. And it's not that the old system was necessarily bad. And when I talk about the systems not necessarily being bad, I'm talking about the systems that you have created to operate in for survival, right? They're not inherently bad. They're naively bad. And I say that for myself because we are all doing the best that we can. So as we start revisiting, recanting, reviewing, don't get stuck in, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Resound, wow, I did that. That was a dream I had, a vision I had, an ideology that I held true to. It still has value, but maybe I was confused about the application. Maybe I was not clear about my true role in this thing. And so use it as data. You're updating, you're upgrading, okay? Then I'm telling you, February is an interesting month. So at the end of the month, we have a lot of planets all lined up, and it's like destiny, destiny, destiny. The sun, which by this point will be in Pisces, is going to conjunct with the North Node. So again, we had Mercury touching the North Node in Pisces. Mercury was in Pisces, the North Node in Pisces, where you got the call, you got the understanding, you got the message about you or a mission or whatever that is. Hopefully you got it on the 12th. But at the end of the month, when the sun will be in Pisces and it's going to conjunct the North Node which is also in Pisces, and it's going to be there until I believe midsummer. This is where your destiny, it becomes clear. And you're not walking backwards. You like, okay, I get it, I see it, and now I feel better equipped to articulate it. And this is on a personal level, but this is most definitely on a national level and international level. It's like the understanding. All right. So look for that. We have a power packed month. So at the end of the day, this month is about reclaiming the right to just be. Inhabiting your own space is a spiritual act, and especially for melanated people. But one of the things that I wanted to share in closing is that I see a lot of people talking about Caucasian people are learning. They're learning. You know, I don't see it as they're learning. I see that the collective is remembering. They are remembering the trauma and the abuse and the exploitation that they experienced, period. And the construction of whiteness was really a narcotic to keep them quiet. But I'm not going to get off into that. But I want us to remember that there is no lower or anything. They are remembering the trauma that they have been trying to escape through a false identification as privilege that truly had no worth. Okay. But I'll talk about that in another video. But let me know, does this hit? Does this feel like how you are vibing? And check my next video where I'm going to go through each rising sign. All right, y'all. Be well and be blessed. And remember, you are the algorithm.